Welcome to Community Connections with Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County. I'm just one of your hosts, Sean Boyle, and with me is
Ashley Mock.
And welcome to the half-hour television show, thanks to a wonderful partnership with WLX TV, the St. Lucie Public Schools channel, where we come to you sort of live, in a studio, if you will. It's not live, but in a studio to talk about resources and things that are available for children and families in St. Lucie County. Now, if you're watching us, you're probably watching us on WLX TV through your cable provider, right? But if by chance you're not, you could jump to YouTube.
Your favorite.
My favorite. Look up WLX TV St. Lucie. You can see all of their programming, and you can even find this show, which goes back almost 10 years.
We don't know.
Where we would record in a small radio station, WIRA at the time. But enough about that history. What do we do in this show? We talk about resources and things that are available for children and families in St. Lucie County. Now we at the Children's Services Council, despite 10 years of doing this show, still not media professionals, but what we focus on is 5 priorities, and those priorities are, and say it with me if you've watched this show before: 1, making sure every baby is a healthy baby; 2, stopping child abuse before it happens; 3, keeping kids off the streets; 4, keeping them in school; and 5, keeping them off drugs, alcohol, and other risky behaviors. And when I say that we focus on them, we develop and fund programs and systems of care that are available to all children and families in St. Lucie County.
That was a lot. You did that so fast.
And I am done. Have a good show.
Deep breath. So obviously we use this show to kind of introduce you to some of those partners that work in the areas that Sean talked about. But we also like to share information with you on our website, on Facebook, pretty much anywhere that we can get information out. We will share it with you.
The gram of Instagram.
All over the places. But we do have, I see you brought props today. So first, the website is a great place to get information. It is where the most up-to-date information is for all of our programs and resources. And that website is cscslc.org. So if you've watched the show before, I'm sure that you've seen our family guide that we share often. This is it's a document that includes a brief description of each one of our program partners along with their contact information. And we publish this about once a year. Sean is strategically covering up the date because this one is a little bit out of date. And we are working on preparing new documents for October. But in the meantime, the website is the best place to find that information. Now, if you have a child in St. Lucie Public Schools, there is a chance that you received a beautiful postcard like this one when they came home from school this week. This postcard gives you a direct link to the website where that program information is. And again, the website is the most up-to-date information. So if there is something that you are looking for your family, whether it's an after-school program or mental health resources or just connecting, this postcard will take you where you need to go on the website.
You know we're cool, and you know we have young people that work for us because there's a QR code. So you can pull out your phone, hit it with your QR code. You could even do it on TV because I saw Craig zoomed in on it, and it'll take you to the list of the programs. And the reason why we haven't printed or don't have a new directory out yet is come October 1, which is the start of our fiscal year, we're actually adding, I believe, 3-4 new programs.
Yes.
So, you know, as soon as you print it, it's out of date, but we at least wanted to wait until those programs are up and running.
That's right. So again, website, most up-to-date information, most fun information on this show.
So QR code withstanding. Ashley already mentioned that this flyer, this little card was given out to all elementary students, right, to take home with them?
Just about all.
8,
Yeah, most K through 2s, almost all elementary.
Yeah, almost all elementary. But that brings up a good point because we did that because guess what's back in session?
School.
Now, I do not have any school-age kids anymore.
Would you like some?
I have a child entering the workforce, which is, let me tell you,
just
almost as stressful, if not more stressful. However, how did your well, we're on Tuesday, so how's your second, I know we're not supposed to date the show, but second day back, how you doing?
So I have 3 different schools and 3 different start times this year because I have an elementary, a middle, and a high school.
That's why we're checking up on you.
And it's a lot. We spent a lot of time in car lines yesterday just because the first day of school's challenging.
Right.
Today, much smoother. Today was much better. So shout out to St. Lucie Public Schools. They really did a great job. All my kids had a great day yesterday. We're very excited about this year. So all was good for us.
One of the things that's happening this week and next week, actually, with the start of school is something called the Tunnels of Hope. If you're not familiar with that,
The most fun part of back to school.
it's one of our funded programs. It's an initiative, Kids at Hope initiative, which is the belief that all children are capable of success, no exceptions. The idea that kids will live up to our expectations, and if we expect them to succeed and be successful, then they will meet those expectations. If we expect them to fail and be bad, they're going to live up to those expectations. So we kind of flip it on the end. All children are capable of success, no exceptions. But what's cool about it is the start of every school year, schools can sign up for something that they call Tunnels of Hope, which is volunteers from the community, our team. You see a lot of law enforcement, fire district, school personnel, a lot of people that care about the community line the entryways of where students enter school, and they basically cheer them on to encourage them to have a great year.
It's really so fun. And again, huge shout out to the team from Ignite, because
they bring
it like every year. But it is really fun. So we've shared the schedule on our Facebook page frequently over the last couple of weeks, so you can find it there. You can find it on the Roundtable page as well. If you have a chance to stop in, it really is a good time. It's about a half hour, maybe at most, but it is a really great start to your day, and the kids are really cute. It's a good opportunity to get some time.
It's fun because you have some kids that are super excited, and other kids are like, "Oh, stranger, please don't look at me." Word of advice: so a lot of those tunnels are outside, so bring a bottle of water, something to stay hydrated. Perhaps even a change of clothes if you have a big meeting afterwards.
Yes.
Speaking from experience.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, with school starting, first of all, a little tip of advice, and we're going to pull a message from our firefighter friends, is that means there's a lot of kids walking, going to bus stops. There's not always sidewalks everywhere. So with a word of caution, please drive carefully as you're going through neighborhoods and crosswalks. Don't text and drive. That should be a given. But let's avoid any tragedies, vehicular accidents with students this year.
I will say a shout out to Port St. Lucie Police Department. The stretch where my kids go between River's Edge and Southern Oaks is always crazy this time of year, and they were out in force yesterday. So that, I mean, definitely keep vigilant in those school areas. There are kids everywhere.
So anytime we talk about school, then we always have to talk about what is your kid doing after school? Because we're all kids at once, believe it or not. And we all can remember when left unattended, you're going to find something to do. A lot of times, not a lot of times, but some of those times, those choices may not always be in the best interest of yourself or your family or your neighbors. So we always encourage everybody that listens is to think about, what does your child do after school? Do they go home? Do they just jump on video games, or are they engaged in something that's proactive, that helps with their homework and helps with their social development, if you will? And so we're going to talk about, and we've got a great provider here to talk about the importance of after-school programming.
Yes, so we are excited to have the CEO of YMCA of the Treasure Coast with us, Miss Charlene Lyons.
Cue the song and the dance.
Do you have to do that as like a contractual obligation?
When you enter the building every morning.
It's part of the interview process.
Yeah.
I believe that.
You got to make sure you get to see the right direction, because a lot of people mess that up.
I could never do that right. So the YMCA really, I feel like, has expanded their presence in St. Lucie County over just the last couple of years, even. So we're talking about after school. Obviously, that's a big part of what you guys do here in St. Lucie County. So talk about what we're looking at for this year, because yesterday was the first day of school, but it was also the first day of after school.
Right. And let's not forget before school care.
That's right.
Oh,
So we have
good point.
we have before school care as well, and after school, and we're at 5 locations this year. We're at Cast Elementary, Southern Oaks Middle, Village Green Elementary, Francis K. Suite, and we have our site at JC Park on Bayshore Boulevard that's serving.
So you got the whole county. You got north, west, east, and south. And I did those in the wrong order, but you get my point.
Yeah.
That's great.
So we're able to, serve all of those kids after school. And like you said, what are your kids doing after school? And so we are using a Harmony program for that social emotional learning. We have a garden club. We have art club. We have, Legos that we're working with the kids on, so that they're able to choose what their interest is that way it will be more exciting and they'll be more likely to want to come to after school care if it's not just a free-for-all.
And you bring up a good point. Let's not, our category for after school programs is keeping kids off the streets, but I'm glad you brought up the before care because I live fairly close to the middle school. Southport. I was going to say Southern, but I knew it started with an S.
Nope, that's mine.
I told you my kids are grown. Southport, and and that school doesn't start till
9:30. My middle schooler is 9:30.
And what time are most people getting to work? 8:30.
Before
right?
that.
Right. So unless you have a cool boss that allows you to drop off your kids, you need to think about what are the arrangements you're going to make so that you can get to work on time, but your child isn't, a middle schooler sitting outside waiting on the bus, or more importantly, you're like, hey, stay at home, but make sure at this time you walk to the bus stop. There's a lot of room for error and stuff that can happen. So it's important that we think about and talk about before school care to make sure that those kids are safe and actually get to school.
Right. That's a big part of being successful in school. You have to show up.
Is the before care offered at all those locations?
At all of those locations. Yep, starting at 7 a.m.
That's fantastic. Oh, even better.
Right.
That's excellent. Yeah. So you talked about all those locations. Obviously, we know as parents, there's some cost associated with what that looks like for parents. Where is the best place for them to get more information if they are still looking for a place for their child to be before or after school? Where's the best place for them to get information, and what does that kind of fee structure look like for them?
Yep. So all of that information is on our website, www.ymcatreasurecoast.org. And so for just before school care, it's $55 a week. For after school, just after school, because you're able to choose, some parents don't need after school, some parents don't need before care. So we have that kind of a la carte to serve everyone. 55 for before school, 70 for after school, and 85 for both. And as all things at the YMCA, we are a nonprofit, so we do take ELC if you qualify for that. We also have our own scholarship program to make sure that that cost is not an obstacle for anyone to receive this care, because we do want to make sure that kids are in a structured program where they'll always be safe. So
that's a good bundling discount. I'm just going to tell you, 55 and 75, but together it's 85. I'm like, that's a deal.
Right.
Well, and I like that you make it optional too, because if before care is really the only thing that my child needs, because they go to a middle school and they're out at 4, and I'm going to be home in time, or however that works, that alleviates some concern as a parent for having to pay for the full scope and not being able to utilize the services all the time.
And I know, because we've been partnering with the Y for a long time, I do know that if a family has an economic hardship, or oftentimes what we hear is, I can afford my one child,
kid.
but I have 2 other ones. I know that you work with them through the grants that you receive and the donations to provide that scholarship to make it accessible to those families.
Right.
For the before school care, because clearly I'm obsessed with this before school care thing. So do you, if my child is at Bayshore, and clearly the Bayshore site is not a school.
Correct.
If I'm at the Bayshore site, does the school come and pick my child up, or do you take my child to the school?
The school bus, the county school bus comes through and picks up your kid and drops them off at school, so that they're there at the right time at the right school.
That's a great partnership.
Yeah.
Then. Shout out to the St. Lucie Public Schools, because that's huge, right?
It is. It really is. So I, don't want to diss Martin County, but St. Lucie County is really.
This is the St. Lucie show. You're safe.
Right, but they partner with us a lot easier up here.
That's very nice.
Yeah, that's good to know. So if my child is interested in attending, or if I'm interested in my child attending after school, what does a typical day look like? So they get either off the bus or however they're arriving, if it's at their school. Obviously that one's easy, but what does it look like once they show up at the YMCA program?
Okay. And are you talking before, because we got before or after school?
After. I'm more concerned about that.
I also, the follow-up will be what happens in the morning.
What happens in the morning? Okay. So they come to us, and so they've been sitting in a classroom. So we want to make sure that they're moving around. So once we get everybody there, so this would be Bayshore. So once we get everybody there, they're outside so that they can kind of get their wiggles out. And then we have partnered with Treasure Coast Food Bank. So everyone is getting a supper, I think is the term that they use. So everyone gets something to eat, and then we're working on homework, and then we're working on, like I said, garden, art, Legos, other programs that are going on, and that kind of, gets you to 6 o'clock, which is when, our last kids are picked up.
Which is awesome, because if I'm picking my kid up at 6 o'clock, you've already helped them with their homework and fed them.
Yes.
So
Don't get me wrong, they're going to eat again because they're growing.
100%.
But yeah.
But that's a huge burden lifted for those parents.
Yep.
Well, and I think about that, and I think back to when my kids were younger, just the homework stress was like, it was palatable in our household at times, particularly around math and stuff.
Yep.
And they're like, first of all, you go through that half hour, or quite frankly with my daughter, hour
Longer.
plus of
Longer.
just the fight to even do the homework.
Yep.
And I always told her, I'm like, the fight to do the homework's longer than actually doing the homework. If we could just skip that part. But you guys help families through all that.
Yes, we do. And, we have a lot of young staff, so they're close enough to have been in school that they still understand,
Not like us trying to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember the word algebra,
Right.
but that's as far as I get.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
Yeah, definitely. And the fact too that they're still with their peers,
Yes.
the other kids in their class that are able to
Right.
kind of assist you. So that's huge. That's a big help for families.
So I have questions about like the garden club and all that, but
Okay.
real quick, so on before care,
Yes.
I'm going to drop my child off at 7 a.m.
Yes.
because I got to hit Starbucks.
Right.
Drop my child at 7 a.m. because I got to be at work at 7:30, let's say. So what happens, let's say they drop off at 7, they're a middle school student, and their school starts at 9. What happens in those 2 hours?
So we're having breakfast, and then we also have those kind of centers for them to do. It's not just, sit here,
Sit around and-
sit around
Stare at your
and
phone.
stare at your phone. Right.
Yeah.
So we do have a no electronics policy at the YMCA of the Treasure Coast for school-age childcare, because it's just, they can do that when they're at home,
Yeah.
and they're going to do that when they're at home. And you didn't bring your child to us for them to sit on their phone. So they're in organized activities that are going on, and we leave it up to the kids for their choice, because we know that that's a skill that adults need and aren't always trained to do. Like, would you like to do this, or would you like to do this? So
Right.
we make sure that the kids have a choice in what they want to do, so that they do stay involved in it.
That non-electronics policy.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to, get on a soapbox here, but that's huge, right?
Huge.
Because, you and I are in rec basketball. We don't play, but you have a son in there. I've been coaching, and I can tell you the phone.
Oh, it's bad.
I mean, not only for the kids, but for the adults.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you look out in the stands and everybody's looking down, or even the kids. We had a young man helping an assistant coach. He had headphones on the whole time, and when he wasn't talking, he was just looking at his phone. And I remember thinking, what's he doing? Like 24/7, he's got to be
Yeah.
attached.
I will say the schools have taken a strong stand on that this year too. So there's a lot stricter policies for the kids when they're in school on cell phone usage. And I can already tell in one day that it's made a difference in my kids.
So kudos to you, because I know
Yes.
that you didn't just start this. This
No.
has been implemented at the Y for a while.
Yeah.
So all right. So in the after school, I'm bouncing clearly. Before school, I'm getting my breakfast. You're going to do some of the center location or center activities. So you talked about gardening and STEM and Legos and all that. So can you just kind of like maybe elaborate on one of those?
Sure. So we have, with United Way of St. Lucie, we had a partnership to create a garden at our Bayshore location, and they gave us some grant money, and we were able to create a garden, and we have like raised gardens where we have vegetables growing and flowers growing. And then we were able to, with one of our students' parents was involved with UF IFAS. And so then they came out and helped us. So the kids are out there and they're doing all kinds of different things. They're measuring rain, which has been good because we've had some rain, which
Yeah.
last year there wasn't any rain to measure. But so we're measuring rain, we're measuring growth. The kids are trying different vegetables that they've grown themselves that they wouldn't. We had kids eating okra that had never even heard of okra.
Yeah.
But the fact that they grew it themselves, they were more inclined to kind of taste it. They didn't like it, but
Well, how'd
they
you
at
prepare it? No, I'm just kidding. Raw okra.
Was it deep fried Southern style?
No. So that would be one of the centers that I'm obviously passionate about that one. But so that's one of the centers.
And
that
the
we
use
have
of Legos, I know, is
Yes.
huge.
Yep.
in engineering and all of that.
That's very cool.
There's so much that you can do now with that even leads into robotics
Mm-hmm.
and doing all kinds of other things. So that's really awesome. And again, we can't discount the piece about giving them choice. It's something that we talk about often. John in our office has really pushed us to make sure, we can give books out as often as we want, but if we're not giving them options for them to choose,
Right.
They're far less likely to enjoy it. So the fact that you've got multiple choices for them to make, I think is really cool.
Well, and it's an important, I don't know, call it a skill, but it's important that they start thinking that way as well,
Yes.
right? What is my best interest? What, et cetera, et cetera. So, all right, so we've talked about the before school care in depth, after school care, and I know you've given your website out, but if I'm a parent, grandparent, caregiver, and I'm listening, I'm like, you know what? I need to check out the Y. I want to take a tour first, because we'd highly encourage everybody to take a tour. I know a lot of times people will select what's close to their house or their workplace, but clearly check out the facility to make sure it's a good fit for your child. Is there a number that they can call,
Yes.
or is it just all through the website to schedule?
So you would want to call over to our Bayshore site, 772-878-7337. See, I memorized that. I call it all the time. So it's 772-878-7337.
And that's for even any of the locations in St.
That's
Lucie County.
That's the main number for St. Lucie County,
The Bay Shore is like the hub.
the hub for St. Lucie.
Yeah. All right, so we obviously, I think we stress the importance of after school and before care, which I'm grateful that you brought up. And obviously, it's a learning environment, a fun environment, a non-electronics phone. They're not going to just be like, hey, drop your kids off. They're going to watch YouTube on their phone for 2 hours, because they can do that at home. And then I am speaking from experience. So but the YMCA does so much more. And I know the big site of the Y, because you are the YMCA of the Treasure
Yes.
Coast, the big facility is in Stewart, but a lot of that services and resources are accessible and available to St. Lucie residents as well.
Yes.
So do you want to talk about, I mean, I know you do recreation stuff for basketball, soccer.
There's a lot
I know you
happening
do
down
swim
there right
lessons.
now.
I know you have childcare. We have 6 minutes left. Your pick on which one you want to elaborate on.
So something I think exciting, because this is a St. Lucie County show, we can talk about is we've been able to partner with St. Lucie County, and they've given us access to the Fenn Center. So in the fall, we'll be authoring?
Authoring. If you put it in writing.
I mean, we did. So offering youth basketball, so it's ages, I wrote it down, 9 to 16 years,
Okay.
starting in November. So you should be seeing information September, October,
Nice.
letting
That's
you
very
know.
cool.
But it will be divided by ages, and there'll be leagues and referees, and it'll be official shirts and everything.
Oh,
So
that's
we're really
great.
excited to be able to offer that to the community. We do have that already going on down in Martin County.
Right.
So, I was really excited at the opportunity to be able to offer that to the community.
Well,
Yeah, that's
As
very
we
cool.
gave kudos to St. Lucie Public Schools for partnering with you for the transportation,
Yeah.
let's give kudos to St. Lucie County,
Yes.
because that Fenn Center is a great facility, and having played basketball in there, it's a great place to play basketball as well.
Yes, you're a big fan. Our More Than a Game guys get some time in there during the year, so it's a good basketball venue for sure.
Yes.
That will be awesome.
So for those families that are particularly in Fort Pierce, right, because it's very convenient, if they're wanting, because there's really not a lot of, particularly in Fort Pierce, recreation basketball leagues.
Right.
There's there's
But
football
nothing-
for sure.
And not even a lot of indoor basketball courts
Right.
up there.
So if they're interested in that, is the information to register, is that available on the website? I have many questions, like how many games are in the
Okay,
season?
okay.
Is the practice
gosh.
also at the Fenn Center?
Yes.
Okay.
So
nice.
there's going to be one practice a week and one game per week for the season. I don't have the particulars. I believe it's 10 games,
Okay.
but don't quote me on that. Yeah, because it goes from November 11th to December 1st will be the
Okay.
first season. So I think that's 10 weeks.
Yeah.
There'll be coaches, referees, registration information
Coming.
coming soon.
Okay.
We'll be sure to get you guys that information, because I think that you'll have kids that would be interested in that, and that's that keeping kids off the street. What can I do?
Right.
And I think
Yeah.
it's a perfect community that we'll be able to serve up there.
Well,
Yeah, it's
you
very
know,
exciting.
and the ability to share it amongst all of our other after-school programs, because
Yep.
they all
Right.
have kids that I'm sure would be interested in
Right.
playing basketball as well.
Yeah.
And that's going to be
Definitely.
both male and female.
Correct.
Correct?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. So I know you've mentioned it a couple of times, but let's give your website one more time. So anybody that is interested in any of the things that we've
Yes.
talked about
Yes.
today can find more information there. Tell us what that is.
It's www.ymcatreasurecoast.org.
Second guessing
All right,
yourself. I
so
get
just
it.
YMCA Treasure Coast, because we already referenced
.org.
it's St. Lucie, Martin, and other counties, so
Yep.
treasurecoast.org. And so, you know, we've mentioned about, you know, the scholarships for kids
Mm-hmm.
in after-school programs. I know I'm sure there's probably scholarships for even the basketball.
Yes.
Everything that you do, there's scholarships.
Yes.
That happens because of grants, but it also happens because of donations.
Yes.
So maybe this is opening the door to maybe, is there a way if somebody is like, you know what, Sean, Ashley, Charlene, my kids are all grown, but I think it's important that every child have access to before and after school programs or even the rec leagues or even swim lessons. How do they go about perhaps making a donation or participating in any type of fundraiser that you have?
Okay, so all of our fundraising events are listed on our website at ymcatreasurecoast.org. There's also a little button to donate, or our phone number's there if they like to call and speak with me, because I know some donors do like to designate their gifts, so that option's always available, but you can reach me through the website, ymcatreasurecoast.org.
And I know you have, and I know we're out of cycle for this because it happened, I think not that long ago, but your big fundraiser is it the Easter House?
YMCA Easter House.
Easter House, where you give away a house,
We do.
which is
A
pretty
big
cool.
deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that takes place obviously probably around Easter?
The drawing isn't Easter, but we start selling tickets on Black Friday.
Okay,
So
so it's not
that's
that far
coming.
away.
Right,
Okay,
so
okay.
it's coming up.
All right, so maybe can you briefly, I don't know if you have any details. I mean, Black Friday seems really far away, but it's
Not
really not.
Yeah.
Which is scary because that means Thanksgiving's not that far away, and then
Right.
we think Black Friday, think of Christmas.
Oh, gosh.
So
No.
we're all going into a panic
Yeah,
attack right
right.
now, but you could win a house.
Yes. So we have a house. I believe it will be in St. Lucie County this year. I haven't nailed that down. But
It's not my house, is it?
No,
Okay.
no. And so that website is ymcaeasterhouse.org, and we sell tickets. A ticket is $20, and it puts you in a drawing to win a house.
And that I'm always curious about that. We got a minute left.
Okay.
Like, does somebody donate a house to you? I'm just curious how
Back
that
in the
works.
day, we did have the entire house donated. Now we partner with a builder who gives us a house at a reduced rate, so we do pay for the house.
Okay. But still.
But still,
It's a
right?
house.
It's a whole house.
I mean, like, look, we've been to fundraisers and we're like, man, I hope I win the 50-50
cooler.
raffle and I get $60,
Yes.
or I'll pay $20
Not a
and
house.
maybe you'll get a highwayman
Yeah.
paint, which is fantastic. But $20 to have an opportunity to buy a
Right.
house,
I'm in.
yeah, especially in this housing market,
Yeah.
It's a good gamble. I'll take it.
Yeah.
yeah, with no interest rate, perfect.
Right?
I'm
Yeah.
excited about this. I've yet to win clearly, but I'm excited about it.
No. Well, thank you, Charlene. I know there's a lot that the YMCA is doing and continuing to grow up here in St. Lucie County, which we love to see. So thank you for coming and
Thank you for
sharing
having me.
a little bit of that with us.
And YMCATreasureCoast.org, find out that information, before school, after school care, child care, swim lessons,
cetera,
basketball
et
leagues,
cetera.
adult, children, everything. Check them out. And remember, it's always fun to stay at the YMCA. All right, thank you everybody for tuning in. And thank you, Charlene, for coming on. We greatly appreciate every view. If you have any questions, give us a call at 772-408-1100. Otherwise, a reminder that it's our children, our community, our future. Now more than ever, folks, we're all in this together. We'll see you next time.